Hey, good morning, everyone. Real quick, I'm trying to figure out how to just say all this, but it's kind of like Martin Luther King would talk about freedom, justice, and equality. And that's why when things occur or happen, a lot of people out there assuming and making assumptions, whatever you want to say or call it. But a lot of people may already know me and stuff. And I know, of course, the God I serve who sees all, knows all, he knows me too. The point is, I look at everything in detail. I go deep. And I look at everything from the smallest common denominator. It's about looking at different things at different angles. First of all, and I'm being real, I'm starting off with everybody else. First of all, like, it doesn't matter if it was somebody who I like my boy or the football, Tom Brady or MJ or whoever else in basketball. I'm just being real. Like, if one of their sons was trash and they made it to the league just because their father helped them, I'm not gonna say I'm 100% against that. But the way that I look at it is, how can you learn in life? How can you get better if somebody's always helping you? And what do they call it about something about feeding you at the table, the feeding spoon, the silver spoon or whatever. That's where I'm coming from, because basically I'm looking at it, the fact that, like, that's like talking about church. Why is it that some people, like these big churches, why don't they help people out there on the streets that need help, that are poor, looking for food, looking for clothes, looking for jobs, all this other? That's where I'm coming from. This has nothing to do with me hating on LeBron because his son made the draft and other guys didn't. But once again, that's where the unfairness comes in, because if my son, which I don't have no children, I'm just paraphrasing, if I had a child who was trash, I'm just gonna be real. Of course, I'm gonna be happy he made it, but at the same time, I'm gonna be real and say that wasn't right, that wasn't fair, that he made it over somebody who averaged 15.7 rebounds, whatever it is. That's where I'm coming from, because man doesn't look at things, we look at it from a tradition, we look at it from a man's way, which gets people in trouble. But when it comes to everybody being treated respectfully, everybody being treated fairly, everybody being treated right, then that's where Martin Luther King and people like him come in. Freedom, justice, and equality. It shouldn't matter about who you know. It shouldn't matter about if you're black or white or whatever. All that crap doesn't matter. So the whole point is, that's what I'm saying about this situation, that it's a blessing. And I'm glad that Bronny is going to be playing with his son, LeBron. All I'm saying is that if you take it other than that, the fact is that, real talk, his teammate, I forgot dude's name, however you say it, I think it starts with N, Nephilim, whatever it is, he didn't even make the team, and make a NBA team, and he averaged 16 points. Like I said, people can say whatever they say. I wouldn't like it if Jordan or somebody had a son who wasn't that good who made it. I would have been respectfully happy. But in all odds, looking at comparison to other players, you see, people don't look at that. That's like if I sit there and I'm the first person in line and somebody intentionally tells me to get out the way, or they sit there and look past me and somebody who's a different color or breed, race or whatever gets in line before me. How you think I'm gonna react to that? Don't you think I'm gonna be frustrated? Don't you think I'm gonna be mad? Because the fact is, I'm the first person in line. They say first come, first serve. That's where I'm coming from. This has nothing to do with trying to talk stuff about LeBron or his son. I don't care about them because, well, I take that back. I'm not saying, I meant to say this is not about just them. This is looking at the whole picture of everybody being treated respectfully. And until Jesus Christ comes back and solves everything, ain't nothing gonna change, because mankind wants to say, if you got, for example, I just thought about it too. If I come in and I'm rich and I got $1 billion or whatever, of course they gonna let me drive out of there with the car. Other than that, depending on your credit score and how much money you're willing to put down, things like that, that's gonna dictate if you're able to drive off the lot with the car, besides the fact of how much you're gonna be paying monthly. So that's the only way, that's where I'm coming from. Man has never treated certain people fairly or better than other people. I mean, I didn't mean to say they never treated nobody better. I meant to say they never treated nobody the same or respectfully. And that's the way that people should treat each other. Of course it's good to have money. Of course it's good to know people and this and that. But at the same time, if a person who is not known but is still good and has busted their butt off and grew up without a mother or father, then they should get credit for that too. It shouldn't matter about Carmelo Anthony or Dwayne Wade or LeBron or Chris Paul. Like, that's cool, but that's why I tell people sports aren't the same. It's always been about money. It's been about money. In Wilt Chamberlain days, Bill Russell, it wasn't that bad like it is now. It was about money when Jordan was playing and Allen Iverson and all these other guys. But the whole point that I'm making is that if people would look at the whole scenario about being treated the same way, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your height, regardless of your weight, then people would understand where I'm coming from. So if I post something, that's what most people are gonna assume. Cameron don't like LeBron, so he hating on LeBron's son. No, that's not true. I hope good for everybody. I say this in videos when I quote scriptures or talk about the Lord all the time. I don't hate LeBron or his son. I put that on everything. I promise I don't. I don't like LeBron, but I give that man credit. Nobody has done a lot of the stuff that he's done. But I tell people in a respectful way, truthfully, honestly, there shouldn't be no comparison. People need to stop doing that, but people aren't going to stop doing that, and the media is not going to stop doing that either. You want to know why? Because of money, because of entertainment. That's what people love. But out of all fairness and reality, once again, the truth is you can't compare apples and oranges. They're fruits, but they're two different kind of fruits. And the only point I'm saying that is because of this. Like, if you're going to compare LeBron to Jordan, you might as well compare, let's say, Allen Iverson to one of them. Then guess what? People going to be like, Cameron, you sound stupid because Allen Iverson was only 5'11", 6 feet. My point exactly. So Michael Jordan was tall and skinny like me. Well, except I'm 250. Jordan was like 224 like Kobe. But the whole point is, why can't these guys just be good / great and leave it at that? Why do we have to compare a shooting guard to a power forward? And why do we have to compare somebody who's in their 60s to somebody who's probably about, well, no, he's 39, he'll be 40 later this year? That's a father and son. Why are you comparing? Like, some people sometimes in the past, when Stephen Curry passed his father, people want to compare Stephen Curry to his father. That makes no sense. That's good that he passed his father, but his father grew up in a different era. The rules were different. Most importantly, the game was different. They didn't do all this fast carrying, running down the court and traveling and carrying like they do now. It's street ball. That's why I tell people everything is about money. And lastly, I'm gonna give this example, and this is not dealing with no particular person, nothing. This is just another good example. Depending on who you know and what color your skin is, sadly, and things of that nature will dictate you can do something and you can mess around and end up, you can end up getting out of jail on bond. And that's wrong. I grew up where they say you do the crime, you do the time. So my question is, why is it that people in Memphis or in the world in general they're able to, what do you call it? People are able to like get out of jail and people can pay them out. So you telling me this person killed 5 people, but as long as they able to pay $5 billion or whatever the bond is, they can get out of jail? That don't make no sense. I know the world is about money, but that's where the problem comes in, because the love of money is the root of all evil. So I don't have a problem with money. It's what money does, or how people use money to sit there and say that we're going to treat this person better than that person. And other people are cool with that. But in reality and fairness, that's not fair. That's not the right way to go about it. It's a right way to do things. It's a wrong way to do things. And that's all I'm saying now. So I'm looking at the whole draft thing, to sum it up, as encouraging. A lot of people probably don't care about nobody except mainly LeBron's son in the draft. I'm looking at all these young brothers. These are the future. They matter. I don't care if they white, black, whatever. They all matter. God made all of them like he made me and everybody else. So that's what my point is. This has nothing to do with just the fact that LeBron's son only averaged 4 points. Well, I really don't care about that. I'm glad he got drafted. But like I said, people don't know who's going to be good and who's going to suck when they get in the league. But I can give you a few examples of people, NFL and NBA, that didn't make that good of a career, that didn't play that long because of injuries and stuff, like Jay Cutler in football. You have my boy Cam Newton. Sadly, I thought he was going to eventually keep playing and eventually make it to the Hall of Fame, but that ain't going to happen. Greg Oden in basketball. Then Glenn Baby Shaq Davis. Also, Derrick Rose. These other guys I'm naming now, I'm just saying that they would have been much better if they didn't have to end their career early because of injuries. Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, some other guys, but I can't think of their name right off the back. But my point is, I want the best for everybody. That's all I'm trying to say. This has nothing to do with hating on LeBron and his son. I just wish people would stop comparing different people from different generations. That's my whole point. You can't do that, because in all fairness, you don't know who's better because you haven't seen them compete with each other. Now, Kobe played with both Jordan and LeBron. That's a different story. And Kobe, to be real, comes the closest to Jordan because he mimicked and copied off of Jordan, sticking out the tongue and a fadeaway jumper and all this other stuff. And Kobe was clutch. Kobe could get the job done no matter what. But all you see now, not necessarily from LeBron, but Devin Booker and a whole bunch of guys, is all this flopping, all this street ball type of mess. I didn't grow up in that type of era. That's why I really don't like the game of basketball now, and sports are just like rigged. It wasn't that bad when I was growing up. That's the whole point about it. Watching Tracy McGrady, Steve Franchise, Cuttino Mobley, them guys knew how to play hardcore basketball. Now it's a whole different class. You don't need, let me say this, and I'm being real, you don't have to be that good to make it to the league. You want to know why? Because once again, it depends on who you know, who you related to, and the connections. So that's the issue I have with sports and with the world in general, that everybody doesn't get treated fairly and correctly or right. And that's God's not pleased with that. God wants people to love each other as themselves. And God wants people to respect each other. And that means if you came in a place and you're the 5th person in line, you're the 5th person that gets to get served. You shouldn't sit there and cut the line because you're popular, famous. No, it don't work that way, or it shouldn't work that way. But that's the whole point that I'm making. So once again, I'm making it crystal clear that I'm not hating on LeBron. I'm not hating on his son. I'm glad for them. When I post something that includes his son or whatever, that don't mean that I'm mad that his son made it, but this other guy didn't. I'm just saying that I wish both the guys would have made it. It's a difference. If I don't hate nobody, like I said. I don't even have a basketball team because I never really had one. I like different players, and it's a team sport like football and other stuff. But anyway, that's my whole point I know I didn't have to make my point clear, but I just wanted to, so people can get an understanding, me breaking down my thing, because I know it's a lot of LeBron haters out there. Trust me, I do. It's some haters of every person. It's some people don't like Jordan, some people don't like Kobe and all other players, but you're gonna have people like that out here, but it is what it is.